Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox on AM 650.
Well, we're talking hearing and hearing loss, and particularly solutions to hearing loss. Our guests are Mark Hambley, president of NextGen and Mainland Hearing Group, and Dr. Ted Venema from NextGen Victoria in studio with us. And Dr. Ted, a medical moment with you, if we might, because we're going to talk about hearing aids, what they do and how they work. But talk to us about what they're working on. Let's talk about the ear for a moment, because, you know, we all have a pair, and some of our ears work a little better than others, and we've sort of gotten to the point in this discussion where, well, we've discovered that it's a human thing. You are, if you're over, say, 45, you're already at a position where physically you could be experiencing some hearing loss. So talk to us about the ear and all of that hearing loss stuff, Ted.
Okay, I think the ear is one of the most unsung glories of the human body. It's a sense that is just underrated because we can't see hearing loss. We believe in what we see. And you know, you see blindness with a white cane and everyone wants to help. But the ear is phenomenal because the outer ear, you ever look at the outer ear and look at its weird folds and shapes? And you wonder, why is the ear shaped like that? It sticks out of our head a little bit. That outer ear actually is shaped like that because it has to be. It resonates like a wine glass resonates when you lick it and your finger and
it makes that noise, right?
And it resonates with the high frequencies of speech. The consonants, letters S, F, K, C, H, Ch, S, H. That outer ear naturally, so if we didn't speak as an animal or a mammal, if we did not speak, I don't think we would have evolved or been created to have ears the shape that we do. We'd have dog or cat's ears. It's because we speak. The ear is literally married to speech. It's speech and hearing is a communicative sense. It involves others as well as the person who has the hearing loss, as we know. So that's the outer ear. It naturally has a resonance to increase the audibility of high-pitched consonants, which are soft. And the middle ear is phenomenal because that drum is about as big as your pinky when you look dead at, and you look at the tip of your pinky dead on as it faces you.
That's the size of a typical eardrum.
It's a little smaller, smaller than a penny. It's about the size of a dime, a little smaller. And that drum, it's the sound hits that drum. Now, I think listeners should, in order to get this, just try this. Push with your hand really hard against the side of your face, or push with one hand against the flat of your other hand really hard. And now do the same thing, but with your fingertip. Just a fingertip pushing it with the same force. It hurts.
You get that white mark, don't you? Yeah.
Or push with the flat of your hand against the side of your face, and now push with the same force against your fingertip, against your cheekbone, and it hurts. That's why you have a middle ear. It increases sound pressure because sound hits a big drum and it gets squeezed onto a point, onto the stirrup bone or the stapes bone, the smallest bone of your middle ear. Because your middle ear has the three little bones, the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup, or the malleus, incus, and stapes. And that last.
Is there going to be a test?
No, but I'm telling you something really cool because the inner ear is filled with fluid. Now, if you have your head under a swimming pool and I'm talking to you from outside the pool, 99% of the sound is going to bounce off that water. You're not going to hear me. How is sound going to penetrate or activate a fluid-filled inner ear? Because that's what your cochlea or inner ear is filled with fluid.
Interesting.
So airborne sound, how the heck is it going to activate a fluid-filled thing? Most of the sound's going to bounce off that fluid. That's why you have a middle ear, because it increases that pressure of airborne sound by hitting a relatively larger eardrum, and all that force gets squeezed onto a point of that last little middle ear bone, and that's how sound enters your inner ear or cochlea.
Interesting.
That's
leveraged. It's amazing.
It's that's why the little mammals could escape the dinosaurs, because dinosaurs didn't have middle ears.
Interesting. But you know, all of that focus, all that down to a tiny little point. I'm thinking retina. In the way that the light comes into our head through that tiny little point in the eye. Is it the same sort of principle?
That's different. That's to focus light properly on the retina, because actually it gets smaller going through the pupil, and then that beam of light gets bigger again onto the retina. This is something to just increase the pressure of airborne sound so that it can activate something that's filled with fluid.
So when we start to lose our ability to hear, what's giving up? What's going away?
It's the inner ear, not the middle. The outer ear is fine. If you remove the wax, eardrum is fine. Those 3 little bones are fine.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's all about what's in that little snail-shaped inner ear, which is called the cochlea. Now, cochleos is the Greek word for snail shell.
Okay.
And that, too, is about as big as your pinky fingernail. You just look at that. That whole little snail-shaped organ is small. It's about the tip of your pinky. And that's filled with 15,000 little hair cells and fluid and 15,000 tiny, tiny little filaments. And it's those filaments that die out with age and also that die out with noise.
Okay.
And that loss is what people used to call nerve deafness.
Right.
The real term is called sensory neural hearing loss. It's permanent. You can't fix it, and 95% of people with hearing loss have that.
Okay.
It's common as the day is long.
Interesting. So when we approach a professional like yourselves, we recognize here, I'm losing it here. I've got to go see somebody. So they do the test and the procedures as you've just described them. And okay, well, yes, you do in fact have some significant hearing loss, and we're going to recommend a device. We're going to recommend a hearing aid.
Yes.
What exactly does the hearing aid do to that little fluid-filled area the size of a small snail shell where you actually do all your hearing?
Well, it makes use of that, the remaining hair cells that are available, okay? Because essentially you're going to, what happens with those little filaments that Dr. Venema was talking about is that some of them have been damaged. They've died off.
Right.
But in one frequency, you have let's say 1,000 hair cells, okay, and you may have lost the bottom end of that, which means that you can't hear the soft sounds. You need more volume to actually start to stimulate the ones that are remaining at that frequency, you see?
So, and if you have a hearing loss like Mark was describing earlier that goes down like a hill, like has good hearing in the bass and poor in the treble.
Right.
A hearing loss.
Which is pretty typical, isn't it?
Yeah. A hearing aid typically amplifies the treble back and doesn't amplify the bass because the guy may have good hearing in the bass.
Sure.
So we literally sculpt or shape the sound coming out of a hearing aid. That's why they're digitally programmed. They're prescribed. I can't wear Mark's hearing aids or he couldn't wear mine, just like you can't trade eyeglasses.
Well, I just say, now this is something, gosh, it's great to have you guys here. It's, and this is some stuff like this people don't know.
No, they
don't.
don't.
Mark and I both sitting here, we're wearing glasses. We know we can't swap each other's glasses and drive anywhere.
The public.
But I think the myth, again, regarding hearing aids is they're generic.
Yes.
They all do basically the same thing, and they have a volume button, and that's your secret to hearing again. You turn the darn thing up or down. And what you're suggesting is that, like eyeglasses, a hearing aid is as custom-made to the wearer as a pair of glasses.
That's
absolutely.
right.
If you're going to properly correct their hearing loss, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, you have to test their ability to tolerate loud noises, right? And you have compression in the hearing aid that allows the hearing aid to protect them from those loud noises.
Yeah, I have an example. I'll talk to you about that in a minute.
Yeah.
We need to take a break. But I'm sorry, just before we were going, Ted, did you want to finish off the thought on the hearing aids and the fact that they're as customized as they are? Because most of us, I don't think, know that.
No, they're not. The notion of a hearing aid as a simple amplifier is fundamentally false.
Right.
Hearing aids amplify specifically where the audiologist or hearing instrument practitioner has sculpted the sound to be. So if you've got a high-pitch hearing loss, hearing aids amplify high pitch.
Right.
If you have a hearing loss that's equal across the frequencies, the hearing loss amplifies them equally. But that's all tuned on the computer. The digital program is stored in the hearing aid.
Right, and that comes as a result. That information fed to the computer is the result of the hearing test.
Correct.
That's correct.
You got it, Mighty.
Well, I'm just glad there's not a test still. But we've got lots more great information to go here as we talk hearing with our guest Mark Hambley and Dr. Ted Venema from NextGen and Mainland Hearing Groups. And they're online at nextgenhearing.com and mainlandhearing.com. Lots more terrific information on both those websites and lots more useful information coming right up on Boomer Life.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.